Hi everyone, welcome back to the TimeBack Project, the channel where we figure out how to reclaim time, work smarter, and actually enjoy running a business. Today, I want to talk about something that silently drains your success. Not burnout, not bad habits, but doing nothing. Yeah, doing nothing sounds harmless, but I've learned that inaction is more expensive than failure, and I'll prove it. Let's start with this. We often tell ourselves, I just need a break, I'll figure it out later. But here's the problem. Later becomes never. When I look back at my own business journey, I can clearly see that the biggest losses didn't come from wrong decisions. They came from the moments I stopped deciding at all. I'd wait for the perfect moment. I'd keep researching instead of acting. I'd plan instead of testing. And during that waiting time, the world moved on. Competitors launched, markets shifted, opportunities disappeared, while I was still thinking about it. Let's break down why this happens. Inaction usually comes from fear. Fear of wasting time, fear of losing money, fear of making the wrong move. But ironically, that fear guarantees you'll lose both time and money. Every day you postpone a decision, you're paying an invisible cost. Lost opportunities that you'll never even know existed. Lost confidence because procrastination erodes self-trust. Lost momentum, which is the hardest thing to rebuild once it's gone. I remember one specific project. It was a digital product idea. Simple, solid, already validated. But I waited 3 months trying to perfect the plan. By the time I launched, someone else had done it better and faster. That's when it hit me. Doing nothing costs more than failing fast. Let's look at the numbers. Inaction has a measurable cost. Let's say you spend 3 hours a week thinking about improving your workflow, but never actually do it. That's about 150 hours per year spent thinking, not doing. Now imagine if even 50 of those hours went into building systems or delegating repetitive tasks. You could have saved hundreds more. I realized my thinking time was actually expensive indecision disguised as productivity. Because here's the truth. You can't plan your way into progress. You have to act your way into clarity. At one point, I got brutally honest with myself. I asked, what would my business look like right now if I had stopped waiting and started doing, even imperfectly, 6 months ago? That question changed everything. I stopped overthinking and started moving. I documented my workflows, trained my assistant, and began delegating the tasks that drained me. The first week felt uncomfortable. The second, freeing. By the third, I realized how much mental energy I had been wasting just by holding decisions in my head. And here's the paradox. The moment I started moving, I finally had time to think clearly. Because action clears the fog. Doing nothing doesn't just waste time, it burns mental energy. When you leave tasks unaddressed, they don't disappear. They sit in your subconscious, quietly draining you. Psychologists call this the open loop effect. You might not be working on that project, but your brain is still juggling it in the background, and it's exhausting. Every open task, unanswered email, or unmade decision is a tiny mental tax. Multiply that by weeks or months, and it's no wonder we feel tired before we even start. The cure? Take microaction, close loops, delegate fast. Every time I hand something off to my assistant, it's like freeing up RAM in my brain. Suddenly I have space for creativity, strategy, and clarity. Here's why inaction feels appealing. It feels safe. If you don't act, you can't fail, right? Wrong. You're just failing quietly through stagnation. The world keeps moving whether you do or not. Inaction doesn't freeze reality, it just lets others pass you by. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to restart. Momentum has inertia, the cost compounds over time. So instead of asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what's the cost if I never start? So, how do you stop paying the hidden cost of doing nothing? Here's what worked for me. 1. Set a decision deadline. Every open question gets a time limit. I'll decide by Friday. No exceptions. 2. Act, then adjust. Progress comes from iteration, not perfection. Do, test, refine. 3. Delegate quickly. If something doesn't require your brain, hand it off. Action isn't always doing it yourself. Sometimes it's making sure it gets done without you. 4. Measure opportunity cost. Ask, what's the cost of not doing this for another month? Put a number to your inaction. It makes reality impossible to ignore. 5. Reward momentum. Action should feel satisfying. Track completed tasks, celebrate progress, and let momentum become your motivation. The biggest shift happened when I started building systems instead of relying on motivation. Motivation fades. Systems don't For example, I created a delegation protocol. Every new repetitive task gets documented and handed off immediately. No thinking, no delay. I automated follow-ups, client updates, and billing. I created a workflow checklist for my assistant. Suddenly, doing nothing wasn't even an option because the system did it for me. That's the real secret. The best way to avoid inaction is to design your business so that progress is automatic. Once you break the cycle of doing nothing, something amazing happens. Your confidence rebuilds. Action creates proof. Proof that you're capable, resourceful, and resilient. And every small win compounds. You start trusting yourself again. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it. It's not about working harder, it's about moving forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Let's summarize. Doing nothing costs far more than failure, and yet it's the price most people quietly keep paying. You lose time, energy, and opportunity not in one big moment, but through 1,000 small hesitations. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you're not just postponing progress, you're training yourself to stay stuck. Failure at least gives you feedback. It teaches, it shows you what doesn't work. Inaction gives you nothing but the illusion of safety, a comfortable paralysis where nothing grows. Inaction feeds fear, action builds clarity. It's not about having all the answers before you start. It's about discovering them as you move. The people you admire, the ones who seem to figure it out, they don't have less fear. They've just learned to act through it. They start, they stumble, they adjust, and they keep going. Because movement, even imperfect movement, breaks the cycle of self-doubt. The longer you wait, the heavier it gets to start. Fear grows roots, but when you take action, clarity catches up. Systems prevent stagnation. When you build workflows that make progress automatic, a task board, a communication rhythm with your team, an assistant who filters your inbox, you remove the daily friction that causes procrastination. You no longer waste energy deciding what to do next. You just follow your process. Think of systems as momentum machines. The more you feed them, the easier it gets to move forward. Delegation equals acceleration. The faster you hand off low-value tasks, the more mental bandwidth you reclaim for actual growth. Every time you keep a task that doesn't need your brain, you're buying comfort at the cost of progress. You might feel like you're saving money by doing it yourself, but you're paying with your most expensive resource, your time. The most successful freelancers, entrepreneurs, and creators I know all share one common habit. They protect their attention as if it were gold, because it is. Momentum is everything. Once you start, don't stop, not even after small wins. Momentum compounds like interest. Every decision you make today makes tomorrow's easier. Every step builds confidence. And confidence, not motivation, is what keeps you moving when things get tough. If there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's this. Time doesn't stop when you do. You're always paying with your focus, your energy, or your missed opportunities. The only question is what you're getting in return. You can spend hours thinking about doing something or the same hours actually doing it. The clock doesn't care which you choose. The hidden cost of doing nothing isn't just lost time, it's the slow erosion of your potential. It's the projects that never launch, the clients you never reach, the confidence you never build because you kept waiting for the perfect moment. And here's the truth, the perfect moment never arrives. You create it by starting, even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable. So start. Start badly if you have to. Start small, start before you're ready, build momentum, delegate fast, and let systems carry you forward when motivation fades. And when in doubt, remember this, you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to move one step closer to clarity. If this hit home, if you've been stuck in that endless loop of waiting, planning, and overthinking, take this as your sign. The right time isn't coming. You are the right time. Subscribe to the TimeBack Project for real, practical insights on how to stop wasting your time and start building the life you're actually working for. Because in the end, the real cost isn't failure. It's doing nothing, watching the days slip by while the work, the ideas, and the life you wanted slowly fade into someday. Don't let someday steal another day. Move now, build now, delegate now, because momentum is a habit. And the longer you stay still, the harder it is to start again.